Hello, I'm Dwaynia, and welcome to our channel, Canadian Small Business Women. And I am so excited for one of our new segments, Ask the Expert. This segment is brought to you by Goodlawyer. Their Canada wide network of lawyers can cover all your business needs from corporate compliance and commercial contracts to patents and trademarks. Goodlawyer is your one stop legal solution for founders. And you're going to be able to find out more about them at the link in our description because you can get $100 in Goodlawyer credits. Who doesn't want that? And you can get your choice of a free 15-minute legal advice session or $50 off a contract review. Our special guest today, who's going to be answering all your questions, is Pauline Chan. She has over a decade of legal experience helping businesses of all sizes, from sole proprietors to multinational corporations. She also has experience owning and running her own bar fitness studio, giving her firsthand experience of what it takes to help your business succeed. Trust me. Now, before we jump into any questions and get Pauline to say hi, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you can catch all of our segments. Pauline, say hi to everyone.
Thanks, Drania. Hi, everybody. I'm Pauline. I am a lawyer who practices on the Goodlawyer platform, and I am also lawyer in residence for Goodlawyer, where I work on helping them expand access to legal help for businesses, small businesses and founders, and then also expanding the access to law for lawyers who are from historically marginalized groups. I'm super excited to be here, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we got some questions here for you. First question that I know a lot of people ask, what exactly do you do as a business lawyer?
So I would say as a business lawyer, I'm essentially, if you're my client, I'm responsible for helping you with a number of things. The most, I think, topical, the first thing that comes up to mind, I think, for most founders is risk management. So how can my business lawyer help me manage the risk to my business? It comes from all aspects of your business. And so I find that business lawyers are very much sort of, I would liken it in some ways to a general practitioner, to your GP, your doctor that way. We're a little bit of a do-it-all sort of, I guess, lawyer, which as relates to your business. So we're looking at all of the areas of your business. Anything that you do in your business comes with some form of risk, whether that's business risk or legal risk, combination of both usually. And part of what business lawyers do is to help you manage that risk, to anticipate what could happen, what they've seen, what these lawyers have seen before and experience with other clients, and then help you understand how you can manage that using legal tools and business tools. So often I find business lawyers are very much they're both helping you. They're both a business advisor in some sense and also a legal advisor. But for me, I think the best business lawyers are the ones that can combine the two. They can give you practical legal advice. It's one thing to give legal advice and say, this is what you need to do to help minimize risk. This is what you need to do in terms of strategy to help avoid this in the future and or to make better deals and grow and develop your business. But that's that second part is sort of what the business advisor part steps in. You bring the two together to help not only manage the risk, but to help the business grow and develop at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of like having that practical and theoretical knowledge because it just makes sense. If you have some knowledge, especially in your background, you own a business and you were a lawyer, so you know the ins and outs of what it is like to go through that experience of owning a business. So yeah,
yes,
okay.
yeah.
So our next question, because we talked about what business lawyers do, what is business law and what is covered under business law?
So, okay, business law is, I would say, in its most narrow definition, and I'm going to say things like that because I'm a lawyer and I can't help myself. The most narrow definition of it would simply be the laws, the legislation, and then the common law or the case law that applies to a corporation, which is a standalone entity compared to you as an individual. So, for example, I am Pauline Chan. I'm an individual running as part of a business, say, for example, the bar studio. I am also an owner there. I'm a shareholder. So as an owner, I'm a director. I am also an officer, and I run the day-to-day operations of the business. And so the laws and the case law that govern that business entity, the studio, is business law. And so there's corporation statutes or legislation or laws, whatever you want to call it, that are all across the country. There's also one federally, the Canadian Business Corporations Act. And really, those are sort of the rules that govern how you run your business at a corporate level, I suppose. And then under business law, if you take the broader look at it, I would say business law is not just the specific statutes that govern your company and how you run it and how many directors you have to have, when do you have annual meetings, do you have financial statements that are audited or not, those sorts of things. Outside of that, there's also all of the other laws that would apply to your business. So for example, you have employees or contractors. So employment law is now part of business law, if you will, the broader umbrella, I suppose. You're collecting personal information from your customers, maybe. You've now got privacy law that is also there. You have employees or contractors that are working for you. You need to make sure that they're working in a safe environment. Is that a remote office environment? Is that within a manufacturing facility or maybe a warehouse packaging products to send out to clients? This is occupational health and safety, for example, is another area of law that I would say is the business law umbrella. It falls under that umbrella. You've also got mergers and acquisitions, for example, if you're thinking about buying a company or you're selling your business to someone else. You've got real estate, commercial, maybe you have a commercial lease for a space, whether it's a restaurant or a warehouse or an office. There's and on it goes. There's all of the various areas of laws that are incorporated under that umbrella of business law because of all the things that you do in your business. Another one would be commercial law, so more so contracting, and whether you're contracting with a client or whether you're contracting with a supplier. So a supplier can be any number of suppliers, right? It's not necessarily just the inputs towards your products, but say, for example, how do people pay for your product? Maybe you use one of the payment processors. They are a supplier to your business and there is a contract there. Everything you do has some level of contract to it in a business. That's all covered, for example, under commercial law, which sort of would be business law as well.
Oh, wow. So all those contracts that a lot of people signed blindly, don't do it.
No, don't. Please join us for the session when I talk about this. I'm very passionate about it.
Yes, we are definitely going to be talking about that.
Yeah, okay.
So then why should small businesses hire a business lawyer?
So in my mind, I always think to myself that when I have my entrepreneur hat on as a business owner, I've worked really, really hard to get to a spot where I am, selling services or products, whatever it may be, in my case, services. You've worked really, really hard to do these things and you developed a product or a service to sell. You have done the research out there to figure out what your pricing is going to look like. Who are your competitors? Who are your, who your target market is? You've done all of this work to sort of get to the point where you can put this out into the world. You've now maybe brought on some employees. Maybe, again, you're signing contracts with payment processors or maybe they're supplying you the raw materials for your delicious tea that you're making. All of these things are business activities which all come with a level of risk. I fully understand. If you are a business owner, you're likely not so risk averse. You probably embrace some level of risk. And frankly, if you want to do business, you want to sell a product or a service, you're going to take on some risk. I do think, though, that you need a lawyer to protect you, I think, from the very, very basic level of risk that any business has to face, so that you don't lose all of it for something that you could easily have protected yourself against. So protecting yourself against someone from stealing your ideas or stealing your trademark or stealing your product formulation, protecting yourself so that if the business doesn't work out as you planned, you personally, as Duenia, will be okay, somewhat okay financially, even if your business fails at some point. Or maybe you have a partner and you need to protect yourself and make sure that each of you are getting compensated properly, doing what you're supposed to do. But if life happens and if one of you needs to exit, well, how do you do that in a orderly manner? Because at that point, it's probably not the best time to be coming up with how you're going to exit the business and negotiating what you should be paid on the way out, or we always want to sort of, I think you want to have a business lawyer to help you help protect you from those unfortunate events, unfortunate risk that may occur. And I think there's a very basic fundamental level of risk that is low hanging fruit. It's very easy to protect yourself against it with the help of an expert. Why wouldn't you protect yourself against it? You've worked so hard to get where you are. Protect it, take care of it. And then it allows you to grow and develop without all this possible risk that is sort of in the background coming after you, if you will. I don't mean to paint such a dark picture, but unfortunately, life does not always work out the way we want, right? And to me, it's always worth a little bit of work up front to protect it. And then you can move forward safely, comfortably, secure, knowing that whatever is behind you, somebody's watching your back, essentially.
You know what? Partnership agreements is just something that I always end up talking about when I'm doing consulting or mentorship because people don't think of it. But we can definitely dive deep into that in some future Q&A segments, but people, it's kind of like a prenup for your divorce. At least you love your partner in your business, you might not love. Think about how it can go wrong.
Yes, yes, yes. That is a great example, Jania. I always use that. When you're getting married, everything is rainbows and butterflies and wonderful, as it should be. But just in case it doesn't always end up going well, you should think about how to protect yourself if things go downhill. And that's all. We hope it never gets there. But if it does get there, you're protected. There's a mechanism, there's a process. Everybody knows what to do next. So there's less room for fighting and arguing and all of that.
Right.
You can follow the process, walk away, and hopefully preserve some of the relationship if possible.
Agreed. You mentioned business ideas and protecting yourself, but how do you protect, or how and when do you protect your business idea? Because we just finished our first accelerator cohort, and there's one person in our group who has a great product idea. She has not revealed it to us yet because she needs to protect her idea. So, how and when do you protect your business idea?
So I would say when. I'm going to start with when, just simply because I think that is one of the key things you want to do right up front. It's well worth a discussion with an intellectual property expert to find out what you have in your business that is intellectual property. And honestly, most often for very many people, it's very easy. They will say, well, my trademark or my, as you said, my product, because I have a specific formulation. That is true, but often what people will be surprised, founders are surprised to discover, is that there's actually lots of different areas of your business that you may have intellectual property in that you want to protect. And so right up front is always going to be the best time to do it, because there are such things in intellectual property law that essentially, if you disclose it, if you start telling people about it, you may end up losing your rights to that property, if that makes sense, because you've disclosed it and you've shared it, and the law sees that as being, well, I guess you're okay with sharing it, which means it doesn't need to be protected. So in my mind, it's always worth an upfront discussion. But when you have an idea, talk to an expert, an IP expert, think about what kinds of intellectual property you have in your business, and then they can walk you through strategies on how you will protect that. And even some of them are more cash heavy, some are not so cash heavy. It's basic, simple things that you can have in your contracts or whatever it may be that will help protect your idea right from the get-go. I think that practically on the business side, it also really shows any future investors that you're savvy. You're a savvy entrepreneur. You're a savvy founder. You know what you're doing because right up front, you were able to figure out what your property is, how you're going to protect it, and you've been implementing it slowly as you go. And maybe you're cash strapped. So, okay, that's fine. But you've already taken these other steps that didn't require as much cash, perhaps. And it makes you look good. It makes you look good to those investors that you're trying to get on board with your business, whether those are friends and family or whether it's some outside, it's an institutional investor perhaps. They want to see that you know when you don't know something and you've reached out to an expert and now you're taking the steps. Even if you haven't taken all of the steps, you've started down that path.
Wow, we just went through a whole lot, and
Yeah.
I feel like we got a lot of knowledge on video one. So remember to submit your legal questions in the comments or in the link in the description. Also, if you have financial, accounting, or grant related questions, you can submit them in the link in the description as well, because we do have some other experts coming in to answer your question. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts about the segment. Special thank you to our segment sponsor, Goodlawyer. Again, you can click the link in the description to learn more and to claim your $100 in Goodlawyer credit. And thank you to our expert, Pauline. I guess we'll see you all in the next video.